I was like, what am I going to say to start this once we've already started it? Today we're here in Toronto at Sonya Lee's studio. Sonya Lee is not your name though. Stephanie is.
Yeah, so my middle name is Sonya, and then my husband's name is Lee. So Sonya Lee.
Okay, I was
It's
wondering.
like a made up name. I didn't want it to be Stephanie. I just like don't resonate with the name Stephanie, to be honest with you.
That's really so fair.
Growing up in Toronto, like I think I was in class and there would be like Stephanie I, Stephanie H, Stephanie B, and I was like,
there was always someone whose name was really popular that year, and they all got the HAB, whatever treatment. It must be really hard to come up with a brand's name because you're like, this is something I'm stuck with, hypothetically forever.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is, and it's kind of like at this point I've just like let go of the idea. I didn't want to name it something that was like French or whatever because that just like didn't seem like honest to me.
Doesn't seem on brand either.
Yeah, it was kind of like a fluke sort of thing that happened. I don't think that it was like actually like really well thought out, to be honest with you, but I'm happy that it's that name.
I think it works really well, and also it keeps you anonymous, which is nice.
Yeah, people still email or like they'll call me Sonya, which is fine. I don't mind. But yeah, it is nice to be anonymous because I've actually made my like own private Instagram account private.
Oh, you have a Instagram?
Yeah, because I've had people DM me about like their order. And
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that to people.
Like,
that's not appropriate.
I was like, this is not okay. This is literally like photos of me and my family. And
yeah, you're like, this is private. This is private.
It's nice to be a little bit more anonymous. Yeah.
So we were talking before, and you told me that you actually didn't go to school for fashion originally.
No.
You were planning on designing lights.
Yeah.
So how did you go from I'm going to design lighting to I'm going to design leather bags?
Basically, like I have always sewn and I've been interested in fashion, but when I was applying for university, I just didn't feel like fashion would be viable. Like I just didn't think I would ever make money doing it.
That's very fair, especially in Canada.
So then I thought OCAD would be a better approach in doing industrial design. I did my industrial design degree and then I started applying for work, and it's just like a really male dominated industry, even in like lighting design, even for like a brand like IKEA or something like that. It's a lot of men.
Really unfortunate, really unfortunate, because I love Bauhaus, and you were telling me a little bit before about how you love design and furniture, and so much of Bauhaus history was supposed to be largely feminine. They founded the school on the idea that women would be equal to the men, and very quickly they were like, no, you guys only can make textiles.
Yeah, or like ceramics.
No, literally, they pushed everyone. Women who came with architecture portfolios, with careers already, they were like, no, textiles. It was very, very rare for women to be able to get out of textiles. Ironically, textiles is the only part of the school that made money. Yeah. It was the most famous part of the school. And then the person who made Bauhaus the most famous at the time of Bauhaus, at the time of the school, was a female designer.
Yeah.
Because she did this whole house that they put on this big exhibit. I don't want to talk your ear off about Bauhaus, but it's really sad that it hasn't changed.
Yeah, I founded that, and then I was working at a marketing agency and working on like Unilever products like degree deodorant and whatever on
super creatively fulfilling.
Yeah, it's horrible. It was literally horrible. I hated it so much. And I started making bags for myself just because like at that time Michael Kors was like really hot, and like the Chloe bag was really big, and it was a lot of like, you know, very overtly feminine and like brass or gold hardware. And
Michael Kors was the it girl.
Yeah, literally. And I just didn't resonate with any of that. Like I was very much like more dark and like goth sort of aesthetic is what I aligned myself with. So I started making bags for myself, and then I'd wear them out, and like friends were like, oh, I really want that bag, and I made it for them. So then I made a really unhinged decision, and I like went into work with my 2 weeks notice. I had no other job lined up. I was just like that delusional that I was just like, I'm gonna make bags now.
Honestly, I love and appreciate that.
I actually did dog walking for a year and a half to support me doing this. I've also worked at like cafes after I quit the marketing job.
Totally. I feel like it's important also to sort of talk about that like most designers in Canada and even globally, not just Canada, but I think Canada is especially hard to become a designer and work in fashion here. We don't have major fashion houses. It's really hard to get independent brands off of the ground and running here. So many designers have other jobs. Yeah. And so many designers are doing stuff like working in cafes and then going home and like sewing the bags and like using their savings accounts to buy fabrics to sew the bags for the orders. And I think that's really important to talk about because I feel like a lot of people are just like, then she decided to make bags and happily ever after we're in her beautiful studio right now.
Yeah, no.
It's not like that.
Been doing this for 11 years in November.
Congrats. Oh, your brand has a Scorpio birthday, which feels so appropriate.
I would say for like the previous 8 years, I made zero money, like zero. I actually accrued $30,000 of debt. And that was even working side jobs too as well. And I actually was at a breaking point where Lee and I were talking about what was going to happen with what I was doing, because he was sort of like, you can't continue to do this. Like, you're accruing all this debt, and like, I need a spouse who, you know, is able to contribute to our life. And like, the other thing was that I kept on telling other people is like, Sonya Lee was making all my life decisions for me. Right. Like, I had zero freedom. I couldn't do anything because this was like my ball and chain. I couldn't like go home to visit my family in Toronto as much as I wanted to when I was living out west. I like had all these things which I called deferred maintenance, because it's like I literally couldn't go to the dentist. Like, it was just like, because I had no money, right?
I remember those years where it was like the first time I went back to the dentist, they're like, how long has it been since you've been here? I was like, when my parents, I was on my parents' insurance. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lot of things like that. And Lee really pushed me to really examine this business and reinvent it entirely, or to step away. It was the most depressed year of my life, but I spent probably like 1.5 years just doing research and building a business plan and revamping this whole thing to have it actually work for me. And I quickly realized that, like, you know, my margins were wildly off what they needed to be in order to grow a business. I stopped like making pieces for like what I thought people wanted and started making pieces for myself. Because at that point I was like, you know what? I might not be doing this anymore. So I might as well do what I want to do.
Oh, you had like a Hail Mary where you were like, if I have a year left, I might as well make it the year that I want.
Yeah.
And then it worked.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that though.
Yeah.
I love that the minute you were like, wait, let me just do this for me, it became an actual business. Like, well, it was, well, I mean, it changed it for the better.
Yeah. And honestly, doing the research and like figuring out how to market this business, and how to like sell products appropriately, and like how to do proper margins, and like all those sort of things were components that I didn't really think about coming from a creative background.
Business is not really taught to creatives.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually worked with a bunch of different people, like an executive business coach, 2 financial analysts, like just helped me out for free. Like, I just contacted these people that I knew, that I was like, I know you like what I'm doing. I can't continue to do this any further because I'm literally, and it was credit card debt. Like,
the worst, because the interest rates are so bad.
And I was like, this is a position that I'm in. Like, I'm writing a business plan. I'm trying to reinvent this. Like, could you help me do this? And my friend Eric actually spent like literally a whole year just reviewing my financial forecasting and my business plan, and like asking me these big questions of just being like, okay, really, is that your market? Or like, what's going on like the market globally? Do you think you actually have like a viable product? Like, all these sort of questions.
Lee and Eric, thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly though.
Huge thanks to Eric, who
shout out Eric,
who literally saved this business. So yeah, since then, now it's like the business is doing really well, and when people see it, they're like, oh, like overnight success. And I was like, no. Like, that debt that I was talking about, I literally just paid off in September.
Congrats.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
That's so
and then like, and be able to, you know, pay myself and pay my employees like a living wage in Toronto, pay for this whole space.
Which is honestly huge. That's huge.
It's massive. And to be able to have a plan for like the next several years going forward of like how we're going to continue to grow, because I want to make this business a lot larger than it is today, and have people who are graduating from like TMU to like actually have a place to work in Canada.
I love that because
Would be
there's not a
nice.
lot of places. It's hard out here.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about the bags themselves because I think, I love your design so much, but also I feel like a lot of people don't realize most vegan leather is deeply unsustainable because even if it's made with things like cactus or mushrooms, some people have made sustainable vegan leather, like Santos by Monica. But most vegan leathers actually just have a ton of plastic in them. They're not biodegradable. They're super unsustainable. And people see the word vegan and they're like, sustainable. No, it's not. But you use real leather that is a byproduct of the meat industry, correct?
Yeah.
So that's actually the most sustainable leather you can have.
As long as the treatment process after it is being examined too as well. There's a lot of water, like similar to like denim or cotton. It's a lot of water processing that goes through making leather. There's also the tannins that you're using too, and how you're disposing of those tannins is important. The leather that we use has like a bronze rating from the Leather Workers Group, which is actually really hard to obtain. There's like a bronze, silver, and gold. Most luxury houses do not use anything that has been approved at all.
No.
Most brands don't use anything that's been approved at all.
We've learned this on TikTok in the last, year and a half, 2 years, that most luxury brands are making things at levels that are on par with Shan in terms of unsustainability. And we're paying like $5,000 or more for those bags when the quality has progressively gotten worse.
Yeah, and it's because they just like need their margins to be so fat because they have investors who are running it now.
Right.
Not fashion people.
No,
right?
It's an investor business.
Right. And they want to have a really fat return because that's the business that they're in. Right?
Yeah, they're in the business of money, not really in the business of fashion.
Yeah. So it's from Argentina. It comes from ranches in Argentina. So our hides are actually a bit smaller than like a North American cow hide. The cows are a little bit smaller. And they have a bronze rating, which means that they get independently reviewed to ensure that their workers are being paid fairly, that they're getting rid of any like waste appropriately and not just like dumping it into like a local river or something like that.
That's amazing.
They've been fantastic to work with. And honestly, it just made sense. Like this material that we're using is not wildly more expensive than other leather that you would get from other distributors. So it just seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yes, similar price point, better quality, better for the environment. Like I don't understand how more brands aren't like, you know what, that one.
Well, I think the thing is like because we're creatives, we see a material and we really fall in love with the material without asking the questions of like, where does it come from? What's the durability on it? You know what I mean? Like
how much of this is plastic,
right?
And this biodegrade.
Yeah. I mean, the like vegan leather thing, I always knew from jump that was just like a total scam. And I have actually looked into like mushroom and cactus leathers, but whenever I would ask those distributors, okay, like what's your compounding agent to put this together? They would be like, oh yeah, we can't disclose that. And it's like, yeah, you can't disclose that because you don't want me to know.
What do you mean you can't disclose it?
Like, I'm not going to steal your formula. Like,
I'm
just
not a
chemist.
I'm just a potential customer.
Yeah. But like you said, I think it's getting better. And I think if it continues to go that way, I see no reason why we wouldn't introduce something like that to the line because I think it's great.
Yeah.
But I also love the durability of leather. Like
the leather on these bags is amazing. And I say this as someone who has, since I've gotten a Sonya Lee bag, it is my everyday bag. Like I'm just like, and I'm always nervous that I'm like, cause I have 4 pets and my dogs like jump on me the minute I get in the house. I'm always like, please don't scratch the Sonya Lee. Please step away from the Sonya Lee. And it's very easy to clean too.
Yeah.
Like it's gorgeous leather, buttery soft.
Thank you.
It's such a beautiful, well-made bag. And all of the bags are made here in Toronto in this beautiful studio, which I love too, because like you said, you're creating jobs in an actual fashion space in Toronto, which is really, really cool and not an easy thing to do.
No, and it's totally viable, but like I said, you have to know what you're doing when it comes to like your business to be able to make something like this work. I think that's actually where my industrial design, like creative brain comes in, is like the functionality of the piece and like the longevity of the piece is really important to me. I'm designing a piece right now and it's I'm having everyone like test it out because I want to make sure that the functionality of it really makes sense. Like it can't just look good, and all the like hardware pieces for me also have to have a purpose. Like I think that's really important in design.
Well, especially for a purse. Like if a purse looks good, we all want a cool, beautiful purse, but it's hypothetically something that you have for years. I have purses that my grandmother gave to me. I have purses that my mom gave to me, and they are still beautiful. Like, yes, I might have to get a strap repaired here and there, but if it is good quality and good design, these are things that are meant to be passed down, that are meant to be used and used and used and used and used, and to look better the more you use them. And that's so important in bag design, is functionality. So I think it's really cool that you really think about that, and you're like, people have to use this multiple times before I can sell this to someone and make sure that this won't break.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you say that, because we get like emails asking about the care of the bags, and I have bags that I've literally never ever like lotioned or anything.
I hate to admit it, same.
Just because like I don't know, I like something that looks lived in and kind of like rugged and beat up. I'm like very much the like beat up city bag.
I'm a messy girl aesthetic.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't have it in me to be a clean girl. I've tried. It was soul sucking for me personally because it wasn't who I was, but also because I'm not a clean girl. Like my makeup is never ever gonna be even. Why would it? Like, you know, my bag is never gonna be perfect. There's always gonna be insane shit inside of it.
Yeah.
Always.
It's for me, it's like, you know, 50 receipts I don't need.
But you were like, why do they keep these? Yeah, I have
and then like a lip gloss missing the lid, and like, you know, it's a little bit hectic.
Explosion
like
of powder.
Yeah.
Talking at something in there. Like,
that you never clean out.
Yeah, my compact exploded in here, and I was like, well, the inside of my purse isn't oily anymore. Like, I don't know. Yeah, the lip gloss is a real one too. Yeah. I always have like granola bar in my purse too.
Yeah, I always have some snacks.
They like melt at some point because I'll leave my purse in the sun.
I'll still eat it.
Me too. Why wouldn't I?
I always have food.
No, as long as it tastes good. That's what my focus is. No, I love that. So if you were saying that you have like a 5-year plan hypothetically of where you want to take the brand. Can you tell us at all, like, is that where you want to take the brand? Is that like smaller accessories like wallets, or is that like I want to do clothes too? Or
I would never touch clothes. I would never touch clothes. I feel
hard.
Yeah, it's so hard. I literally, my heart goes out to anybody who's designing clothes because of the sizing that you have to have and having to produce every season. That was another thing that I learned with this brand, is that Sonya Lee is seasonless. I don't have to release a bag every spring or fall or whatever, or release a new color. I literally release bags and colorways when I feel that passionate about it, and then I feel that it's ready.
Because you had a colorway in this bag that when I first started talking to you, I was like, do you have that still? I was like, no, it was a limited run, and I was like, no, like it was so good. And can I say about the new colorway that I saw?
Yeah.
And then you're doing a new colorway that's like a beautiful lived-in brown that I'm like,
the feral,
like frothing over. It's perfect.
Yeah. And again, like it took me months and months to find that high that I felt like good about it. It's also like making sure that there's enough supply out there that we can continue to make them throughout the year. Because it is a lot of effort to actually like shoot it, design it, make sure that the pattern is working for this different leather type, you know, like putting it out on socials and like doing all those sort of things. So it's like, I don't want to make just a couple of these pieces. I want to actually make them throughout the year so people get a chance to get them. And that was the thing with the marl leather, is like the spotted like hair on hide. Is there was supply out there, but I realized that the price point difference between the black versus the marl was so high that it just like didn't make sense for a lot of people, which is totally fair. And I learned from that I was like, okay, if we're going to be releasing limited colorways, the price difference can't be $100, right? Like it has to be like,
because people
20, 30
will also be confused. Like, why is that worth $100 more if it's almost the same bag?
Yeah, well, because of the treatment and and like also when we buy our black hides, because we're buying it directly from the tannery, like I'm buying 5,000 square feet, right?
Of course, because that's our main color. We need a huge amount.
With economies of scale, I can get a better price point and therefore give that price point to you.
Right.
But when we're doing a limited colorway, it's like we're usually getting it from distributors who work with tanneries, because we can't commit to what they would call a full barrel. So a full barrel is 5,000 square feet, and that way we can customize. Like this leather is made just for Sonya Lee. I've customized the thickness, the feel, the pigment, like all those sort of things to work for our brand.
That's really cool, because I would have never thought about like customizing the thickness of a leather. Like pigment, of course, yes, because you want a specific pitch of black.
Yeah.
But thickness, like my brain would never.
Well, you have to make sure it works for the designs too.
Of course,
right? And it's gonna feel of quality, but not be like so rigid that it's not gonna work for something like the Francesca that has a folded over top.
Right, and you want it to have that slouch. Yeah, that's actually, my brain would have never gone there. Do you think you'll ever do like shoes or like wallets, or what would be your dream thing to release that you haven't released?
I really like shoes. Same. I do really like shoes, but the manufacturing process of shoes, I've literally never met a shoemaker that I didn't think was a bit unhinged.
They have to be.
They've got to be a little crazy, because it's such a hard business to do. The amount of work that goes into it. So like it makes sense that a lot of brands have their shoes made overseas where they already have production and they've been doing it for decades.
Right.
They have all the specialized machinery and hydraulic presses that you need to like form a shoe.
Right, because it'd be so expensive to just buy that without knowing if you have a customer base for it. Like setting up a shoe factory.
Oh, it would be insane.
You couldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I'd advise against it. If anybody's considering, don't do it. It's for the bags that we make here, and the reason why the pieces are designed the way that they are designed is because we're working with specific machinery. Like I know that beyond the hydraulic clicker press that we have and the sewing machines that we have, I'm not designing pieces that require molded leather, which is what shoes do. Yeah, and the soles are completely different. I know in Portugal they make amazing shoes, and in Mexico City too. There's like a huge culture around custom shoes, but not so much here. But maybe you could do a collab shoe. Yeah, right. In the future. We'll put that out there. Yeah. So like collab shoe. In the future, as this business grows, what I'd like to see is just the production to become larger and for us to dominate more of the market, like the affordable luxury market. And maybe like turning this space just into solely manufacturing and then having another space in the building or something like that for like shipping and receiving and like stuff like that. But it's hard. Like I was telling you, 98% of our business is stateside. Right. And with the tariffs going on, it's putting a lot of unpredictable. It must be a lot of anxiety right now. I don't know if like anxiety, like I don't feel that anxious anymore about it. I'm just sort of like, okay, now I need to pivot. And that's the one thing about being a smaller brand that's really nice and having control over my own manufacturing is that I can pivot really quickly. And you're not beholden to anyone. Right. Whereas like if I was a brand that was producing things overseas, it's like, well, I just committed to a 10,000, piece order. Right. Where you're just like, oh, like what am I going to do about that? So that's why I like doing manufacturing here as well, is I can pivot things really quickly and I can adjust things really quickly. Like if I start getting feedback that people are like, oh, I really don't like this component, like I can work on it immediately and have our next batch reflect that. I love that. I feel like you do a lot on your social media asking your clients, like, what do we like? Like, is this working? Do you like this color wave? And I feel like it's really nice because I feel like you've developed such a tapped in community, which is really, really nice because I feel like, for me at least, I should say, in Toronto, it is not a city, particularly in fashion, where it is easy to build community. And so to have an online community is so important. And I think you've done a really good job of building one out. Like every time I see you do like hey, do we like this color wave or this color wave more? I'm always like, let me vote. Like, I love it. And I think that's really fun because it's also gets clients feeling like, oh, they really want to know what we want. Well, I think a brand should be more than like dictating what you should wear. I think a brand should be like a community that you feel like you're a part of. I think another reason why I did Sonya Lee is that like a lot of fashion brands I didn't resonate with. You gotta remember when I started this, like Jessie Can pants were so hot. Like the sailor pants. You know what I mean? God, yeah. Like I was really other, especially when I was in Vancouver too. Like people literally did not get what I was doing at all. Yeah, Vancouver would be really hard for you. Oh, yeah. They were like, does it come in, light brown with gold hardware? And I was like, no, like that's not what I do. Not for me. Yeah, I'm like, I'm dressed for a funeral. Like that's what we're doing. So the perfect purse for your next funeral. Yeah, literally. So I think that it should be a community. I'm trying to connect with other like alternative fashion people or just like alternative people, period, that feel like they don't fit into like the masses.
I think that you do a really good job of that. I think you have a lot of shapes as well that are kind of for everyone too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see someone who isn't independent
Mm-hmm.
still seeing your bags and being like, no, I love this.
Yeah.
And it's like there's something for everyone, but there's also like literally everyone though, because there's also something for the goth girl or the alternative fashion girl who like maybe is really into like Margiela or you know, and I can never say her last name. Yes, yeah. I'm like, oh, you know, yeah. Or, you know, like any of those alternative independent fashion labels who've gotten really big and are now like super high fashion and very luxury. Like a bag from them is thousands of dollars, especially if it's leather. I think you have created a comparable product because the price point is not comparable, but the quality and the style and the aesthetic is very comparable. And that's really cool without copying them or knocking them off. Like you're still doing your own thing, which I think is also hard to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love Jill Sander bags.
They're so beautiful.
So nice. But when I look at the quality of them, I'm like, girl, what is this?
That's also the other issue is
like the price point too. That's just like, what is going on here?
Yes, that's also another issue is I will sometimes go look at expensive handbags and now I mostly buy all of my luxury handbags secondhand because they were also better quality before. So now when I go look at them, I'm like, oh, I actually really love this bag. But then I look at the inside, I look at like the leather and I'm like, how is this thousands of dollars? This is not good. This isn't going to last. This is bad quality. And then I'm like, wait, there's a Canadian, no, but literally there's Canadian designers who are making stuff in our country, in my city, supporting a local economy, making a better product with a very cool aesthetic too. Like it's a no-brainer for me. And I think you do a really good job of filling that space and not just filling it, but creating it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh wait, you're starting to do in-person shopping experiences.
Yeah. So
right?
Yeah, so we have our showroom in Toronto and our production in Toronto too as well. And if you want to book a showroom appointment, you can do that just by hitting up our info at sonyalee.co account. And you can come and like check out the bags and try them on and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so you can buy them online if you're not in Toronto, or if you want an in-person shopping experience, come in. Come get your cute new purse, your funeral purse.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me on your gorgeous couch today. Isn't this couch perfect?
Thank you.
We love your bags, and if you want to shout anything out, like obviously we're gonna tag Sonya, but follow her on Instagram or even TikTok, and you can shop her bags on her website.